Both of the key witnesses heard on the tape, Sergeant Toby Malaro and the dispatcher, Roy Ann Rudolph, are willing to step forward. Ted and Pat hope to get a clearer picture of exactly what happened that night.
It was just a white blinding light. It was huge. I mean, to me it appeared the whole street was lit up.
He definitely experienced something that no one else who had called in had experienced.
We're about to speak with Sergeant Toby Malaro. Now, when a police officer comes forward to discuss a UFO sighting like this, it really ups the ante.
We've got Roy Ann, who was a dispatcher that night. We are basically about to recreate the sequence of events from that night, 14 years ago.
Well, I'd like to know, Toby, what were the first calls? What were the first reports coming in?
Lights in the sky. It wasn't unusual to see lights in the sky.
Sergeant Malaro is at the corner of Trumbull and Belmont when he receives the call from dispatch. He heads north approximately 3 miles to Sampson Drive, where the sightings are being reported.
I am somewhat of a skeptical, and I'm saying this is a plane. This is, I'm not going to find anything. I'm going to see a plane off in the distance. I cruise down here, and my car just shuts off. I'm completely off. Over the tree lines over here, I get out of the car because a light hits my car. I'm going, what the hell?
Sergeant Malaro believes the object he sees is huge. He estimates it may be almost 100 yards across. But what could be capable of immobilizing a fully functioning police vehicle?
Sergeant Malaro sees an object that hovers at 60 to 80 feet above his car. That's what's so fascinating, because that object would blot out the sky were he looking up.
I get out of my car, exit my vehicle. When I got out, it was like being in broad daylight. It just was real intense, no sound, no nothing. It's hard to describe the object at this point because it was blinding. I could tell that it may have been cylindrical in nature or round, somewhat round, but I saw red. There were some round lights, red lights.
So you're looking up at a blinding light.
Yes.
It's totally silent.
Yes.
And it's got a weird shape, a cylindrical shape.
Yes.
What's going through your head at this moment?
I've never seen anything like that.
Malaro's car is still out of commission, and his radio is also not operational. He is unable to call the dispatcher and ask for backup. The officer is completely alone.
Obviously, my training gives me a defensive position. My hand goes to my gun. I'm saying, well, am I going to shoot this object? I'm not going to shoot it.
So to go into a defensive position means that this thing was somewhat threatening.
I could use the word fear. I didn't know what it was.
The dispatcher finally reestablishes radio contact with the officer after several minutes. Officer Malaro remembers it differently.
It only was a matter of seconds. They were telling me that I was off the air for a good 4 minutes when this happened.
I said, Toby, what'd you see? And he elaborated that he saw a light and that he had experienced some kind of vehicular malfunction in his unit, and that his radio wasn't communicating. And then I kind of had a concern because there were so many officers in the outlying areas that were observing that same light, and the same calls continue to come in.
Malaro tells Roy Ann Rudolph that the huge object moved over the trees heading south. At that moment, Malaro said his completely immobilized patrol car restarted without him touching the ignition.
Suddenly the engine on its own starts.
Shut off.
You tried to restart it, so you're running a switch, nothing happens. Radio's dead. And then after the object moved away, it restarted on its own.
It restarted.
I've never heard of anything like that happening.
I've never experienced anything like that, so that's 2 of us.